Jason Tatum is somehow a 2-time gold medal Olympian,
Yep.
and he's an NBA champion. Finally, we're saying all of this, and he could be on a revenge tour, John.
Yep.
Him and the Boston Celtics. Somehow Steve Kerr has managed to piss this guy off, and as a Miami fan, I am not having it. Which Jason Tatum is turning up, John, at this season? Because it's looking like scary hours.
It is, yeah.
Scary hours
I
for
think
me.
the Jason Tatum that we will see this season is one that is absolutely gunning it for that MVP.
Okay.
We saw what happened in the finals last year, in the conference
Jaylen
finals.
Brown, bro.
Jaylen Brown, here and
That's
there.
my boy.
And we know Tatum, all players of that caliber, they've got ego. And we know Tatum, he looks at himself as the best player on the Celtics. And the accolades from last season don't show that. And then we see what's just happened with Team USA. He was a DNP in like half the games, barely got minutes, didn't score a single jump shot in the whole Olympics. He's going to be quite frustrated with what's going on. We can see he's disappointed. His mum's on Twitter complaining about it as well.
Hey, you guys can see right now how happy Philadelphia and Miami is right now in this moment, celebrating the pain of Jason Tatum.
And where his ego is at, where his confidence is at, we don't know. And the Tatum I know would be one that's going to absolutely go for that MVP. And look, on the court, his jump shots seem to disappear at the end of the season in the playoffs. And
that is where I want
that carried through into the Olympics as well, where he did not hit a single jump shot. Yes, he did have limited minutes, but in the limited minutes, he took a few shots and he missed all his jump shots. And, you know, whether he facilitated a lot last year in the playoffs, and he got credit for that.
Yes.
But he didn't get the credit in the accolades. The Finals MVP, Conference Finals MVP.
We're going down that narrative route.
We are.
And that is where I think every Boston Celtics preview will start. Fellas, if you haven't subscribed already, hit that button. Lockdown Sports. Every week we've got NBA content for you. But aside from that narrative, what you're saying there with he's not getting the credit for facilitating.
Yep.
I think the beauty of what Boston was about last season was that every night everyone's role was very different.
Yeah. and they all
Everyone's role was
contributed
very
a lot.
different
Yeah.
on offense and defense. And I think how opposition, and we'll get into this later with the tactics, play them will actually determine the narrative.
Yeah.
You know, if teams are doubling, if teams are leaving. Remember last season, Jaylen Brown opened in the
Exactly.
corner.
I mean, they played
These
so
are the
selfless.
things that will dictate the narrative. You know, if teams are happy to play Jason Tatum one-on-one, not rotate, not send help when he is driving, because regardless of what we want to talk about him negatively, his driving game is still one of the best in the league. One of the best in the league. That's why he's an all-NBA player.
Yep.
These are the things that, for me, decide the narrative. It's not so much for me about what is he going to come into this with, like it's some sort of TV show, comeback kid sort of environment.
See, I mean,
for me, it's about how do oppositions try to stop them, because they are the A-team, and it is a copycat league, my friend.
I think that's what it was last year. And they all played so selfless and they got the championship. But for him personally, on a personal level, I don't think he feels satisfied.
We're trying to get personal with guys that we don't know, John.
Look, I've got a feeling that he might try to score more this year, facilitate less to make his stats pop. And we know all you Jordan stands, that's what you care about. So we'll see what happens this season.
Let's see. I think he will still be all NBA. I think all that credit will still be there. Whether he takes that next step, I'm not 100% sure. Next point, fellas. We do all of our previews this season for every team with 3 points. We've got to go down to the role players, okay? Last season, Sam Hauser, absolute sniper.
Peyton Pritchard
Absolute sniper. Peyton Pritchard, half-court sniper.
Yeah.
Half-court sniper. These are the guys where it's like, what are we going to see from them this season? The money's being paid for them now.
Yeah.
Are we going to see them rejuvenated? Are we going to see them add to their game? Maybe have some more important roles even? Or is it a regression to the mean for you, John? What are you expecting from the pieces around? And I might as well put him into it. Derek White. I'm still not convinced this guy's the real deal.
I mean, I'm
4 seasons into him being a borderline MVP playoff player.
I mean, I'm putting everyone into it that isn't named Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, to be honest.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, those two, they're boys being consistently great. But these other guys, Drew Holiday's been great for a lot of the time. I mean, we saw him with in the championship with the Bucks as well. But like Porzingis, he's a bit of an unknown here and there. Like he can vary. Derek White, as you said, and then Pritchard, and then Hauser. Who else is on that? Horford. I mean, he's another year older now. He's nearing his 60s at this point. And, you know, that variance is something that I was really questioning last season. every single player on that roster that they only had an 8-man rotation for like a lot of the season, and they all played so damn well. I feel like they played like 20 to 30, 40% above their mean. And whether that's going to continue through to this season because they play so well together and them being on the court together helps each other so much, I don't know what it is, but it was shocking to me.
This is where my experience of the Boston Celtics comes into play.
Okay.
Because what happens is you play them once and you're like, oh, Derek White is having a nice shooting night.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a couple seasons later, we're not talking about a regression to the mean. We're talking about a change in the goddamn mean.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's where I'm really scared. If Peyton Pritchard puts together a little bit more, everyone talks about him being an offensive weapon.
Yeah.
If he can still be that consistently, if he can be a 6th man of the year, we're talking crazy numbers. Horford, you talk about struggling
he finds
to
a way.
sort of replace him.
Yeah.
Not only that, they signed Xavier Tillman back on a 2-year guaranteed deal with no player options. That is a bit of business that is amazing because this is a guy that was in the rotation for Memphis, never really chucked a sook, never really a problem in the league in terms of what he provides.
Yeah.
Nowhere near a starter level talent, but these are the ways you complete your roster. You have my approval, even though I don't want to give it to you. Everything about the rest of this team, I think we're going to see just that little bit of a lift. And honestly, the only thing I see stopping this team this season,
Hangover.
not a hangover, please. Some of those boys don't even drink. All right, some of those, that's a lie. They all do. I think it's only injuries, guys. Only injuries that can get in the way of Boston going to the NBA Finals and probably winning it all.
Is it an injury to anyone or just one of Porzingis, Tatum, or Brown?
I think just the big two. Not even Porzingis.
Not even Porzingis.
I think Porzingis is the X factor, but just with these two,
I think without Porzingis, they're very beatable.
Let's see, because it's brave of you to question the availability of another center in the league.
I didn't question it. You
brave.
said it.
It's brave of you to do that. Okay. Point number 3, fellas, the coaching. Joe Mazzulla has given us 2 seasons of what's the word for it? Just being an enigma, being the Pep Guardiola as he would see it, but really refreshing ideas, new ideas.
He's really stood on what he believes in.
Exactly right.
Through.
He's a plan A guy. There is no plan B with a lot of what he does. And on the defensive end, that's where he shows his versatility. Where is this season projected for him? Do you see any room for improvement? Are there any plays that Boston should run more of that you didn't get to see last season?
Oh, forget the plays. In terms of room for improvement, I think he's going to start off the same way he finished last year. I mean, he finished with the championship, so you don't want to change what works.
Fair.
And, he's a full-blown analytics guy. He's threes more than the two. And we saw in the finals in terms of letting certain people just shoot open shots. It doesn't matter what it is. And he just looked at the numbers, trusted the numbers. And instead of going with a feel for the game, if they got hot, he'll still let them shoot. He doesn't kind of adapt to the feel of the game. Maybe that's something new you'll see this season. But they were not really tested at all in that playoff run. I mean, barely went to 6 games in... Did they go to 6 games in any series? I think one series they did, right?
I don't know, man.
Now, it's been a while now. The Olympics has happened. I've already forgotten, but they went through every series so easily. He wasn't tested or stressed at all, really, in that playoff run. I mean, there was no really tight game 6. They had no game 7.
There's a reason for that, though. Over the course of the whole league. What do we say, John, in our finals review?
Yeah,
Day 1.
Do you think that's going to happen again? That's what I'm saying.
I think they can start the season off
in the playoffs. Do you think they're going to go through 5-6 games each series again very easily? Rested.
The only issue is Pawsey's not there at the start. How do you fix that? Like I said, I think they have the
also
options.
the health of all the other teams. That wasn't there in the playoffs.
We're really doing this again. We're really doing another season of yes, Embiid will be fit in the playoffs this season.
Did they face adversity?
They faced the Miami Heat without Jimmy Butler. So
did they face adversity
a little bit?
So I don't think Mazzulla has faced adversity yet. Truly in the playoffs when it matters the most.
And he did the season before.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can say that. And he doesn't have any direct playing experience to fall back on. But a lot of coaches don't. But he's also very new to coaching at the same time. So
we're juggling
a bit of a middle ground at the moment.
We're juggling a lot of variables. Yeah. And one thing I said about JJ Redick was talking about that feel for the game.
Exactly.
But even for JJ Redick, that stuff is like really different. How do you translate?
It's a different perspective. Yeah.
How do you
from a player to
translate
coach.
maybe the feel as a player
Yep.
to a coach? Those sort of in-game decisions. Maybe you can, as Joe Mazzulla does,
Yeah.
before the game, have the best plan. But those adjustments, even JJ Redick, I said, of course, he should have a good feel for the game. But actually being brave enough to make those decisions from the sideline, being removed from the actual basketball court,
Yep.
is going to be a whole different ballgame.
Exactly.
And all of these young coaches, I'm just excited to see what they do.
Yep.
And if they can actually handle that pressure
Yeah.
in the clutch moment.
And I think with what you just said with JJ, Mazzulla's the exact opposite. Like, he may not have that feel there as compared to a former player like JJ.
He's been coaching for a while.
But he's not afraid. He's got the boldness to make decisions on what he believes when he wants to make them in game, which is so important for a coach.
Yeah, and it's rare, you know. I'm glad you're seeing coaches in the league, you know, that are, you know, proactive.
Yeah.
You know, and I know you've been stuck with Doc. You got Nick Nurse now, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean,
But one more season of not making the conference finals, buddy,
Yeah.
and he'll be elsewhere, and so will Joel. Boys, ladies, gentlemen, girls. Yeah, that was the last one. This is Lockdown Sports. This is NBA Casuals. Next week,
next week,
which team?
I mean, should we just go to their finals opponent, Dallas Mavs?
Let's go to Dallas, baby.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Stay locked in, fellas. Subscribe for more. That's all for now. Ciao.
See ya.